Download this code from codegive.com, link in the description below. Reduce, a deep dive into functional array operations in JavaScript. Reduce is a powerful and versatile method in JavaScript, and many other programming languages, that allows you to transform an array into a single value. It's a cornerstone of functional programming paradigms, promoting code that's more declarative, easier to reason about, and often more concise. This tutorial will provide a comprehensive guide to Reduce, covering its syntax, common use cases, advanced techniques, and comparison to other array methods. We'll use plenty of code examples to illustrate each concept. 1. Understanding the basics, the reduce syntax. The reduce method is called on an array and takes two arguments. Reducer function, this is the core of reduce. It's a callback function that's executed for each element in the array. It's responsible for accumulating the result. The reducer function itself takes four arguments. Accumulator, the accumulated value from the previous iteration, or the initial value on the first iteration. This is where the magic happens, it's how the result is built up. Current value, the current element being processed in the array. Current index, optional the index of the current element being processed. Array, optional the array reduce, was called upon. The reducer function must return the updated accumulator value. This returned value becomes the accumulator for the next iteration. Initial value, optional, this is the initial value of the accumulator. If you don't provide an initial value, the accumulator will be the first element of the array, and the reducer function will start iterating from the second element. Important asterisk: if you call reduce on an empty array without an initial value, it will throw a type error. Always provide an initial value when working with potentially empty arrays. 2. A simple example, summing array elements. Let's start with a classic example, summing the numbers in an array. Explanation: 1. We have an array numbers. 2. We call numbers.reduce, with a reducer function and an initial value of 0. 3. The reducer function takes the accumulator, starting at 0, and adds the current value to it. 4. The reducer function returns the updated accumulator, the sum so far. 5. The process repeats for each element in the array. 6. Finally, reduce returns the final accumulator value, 15, which is the sum of all the numbers. The console.log inside the reducer function helps visualize the process. 3. Using arrow function shorthand. For simple operations, you can use arrow function shorthand to make the code even more concise. This version is functionally equivalent to the previous one, but more compact. 4. Common use cases of reduce. Reduce is incredibly versatile and can be used for a wide range of tasks. Here are some common examples. Calculating the product of array elements. Finding the maximum or minimum value. Creating an object from an array. Grouping items in an array based on a property. Flattening a nested array. Counting the occurrences of elements in an array. 5. Advanced techniques and considerations. Using current index and array. While less common, you can use the current index and array parameters of the reducer function if you need to access the index of the current element or the entire array within the reduction process. Understanding performance. Reduce is generally efficient for most array operations. However, for very large arrays, you might consider alternative approaches if performance is critical. For example, specialized libraries or optimized loops could sometimes be faster. Immutability strive to keep your reducer function pure. This means it should not have any side effects, example modifying variables outside its scope, and should always return the same output for the same input. This makes your code more predictable and easier to debug. When dealing with objects or arrays as the accumulator, create copies to avoid mutating the original data. Using with async/await you can use reduce with asynchronous operations, such as making API calls. However, you need to be careful about how you handle the asynchronous nature of the operations. Often, you'll use async/await within the reducer function and return a promise that resolves to the updated accumulator. 6. Reduce, vs. Other array methods, map, filter, for each. It's important to understand how reduce relates to other array methods like map, filter, and for each. Map transforms each element in an array into a new array of the same length. Reduce transforms an array into a single value, which could be an object or array, but conceptually a single unit. Filter creates a new array containing only the elements that meet a specified condition. Reduce can be used to filter, but it's generally less efficient and readable than filter, for simple filtering tasks. For each executes a provided function once for each array element, but it does not return a value. It's primarily used for side effects, example updating DOM elements. Reduce always returns a value, making it suitable for accumulating results. When to use reduce, when you need to transform an array into a single value. When you need to perform complex aggregations or transformations that go beyond the capabilities of map and filter. When you want to write concise, declarative code that expresses the intent of the operation clearly. When to consider alternatives for simple element-wise transformations, map is often more appropriate. For simple filtering, filter is generally more readable and efficient. If you only need to perform side effects and don't need to return a value, for each is the best choice. For performance-critical scenarios with very large arrays, consider whether a more optimized loop or a specialized library might be more suitable. 7. Practical example, calculating the average. Explanation 1. We initialize the accumulator to 0. 2. In each iteration, we add the current value to the accumulator. 3. We check if it's the last element of the array. 4. If it's the last element, we divide the accumulator by the length of the array to get the average. 5. Otherwise, we simply return the accumulator to continue the summation. 8. Reduce write. There's also a reduce write method, which is similar to reduce, but processes the array from right to left, from the last element to the first. The syntax and functionality are the same, but the order of iteration is reversed. 9. Conclusion. Reduce is an indispensable tool for functional array manipulation in JavaScript. By mastering its syntax and understanding its applications, you can write more concise, declarative, and maintainable code. Remember to consider the trade-offs between reduce and other array methods, and always strive for immutability and code clarity. With practice, you'll find reduce to be a valuable asset in your JavaScript toolkit.